Hey everyone, and what's going on? Welcome to Bronco Basecamp Live, right here from Chesapeake, Virginia on Wednesday night. What's up, Mr. Gavin?
What's up?
Dirk Connor, what is going on? I am doing great. Thank you very much. I'm doing well, doing well. All Terrain Nation, hello, how are you? Let's see. TJ Miller, what is up, my friend? Brandon Richards, howdy, howdy. What is going on? I hope we didn't miss anybody there. You're in the comments, so you can comment there, Gavin. So tonight we're going to talk about some of the things that you would do to a vehicle to make it off-road ready, right? And so we get to cheat a little bit with the Bronco because, well, we already have a lot of these things we're going to talk about. But just in case you have a trim that doesn't have everything, what's needed, what's not, just my humble opinion as the rookie off-roader. So I'll tell you, I'm not super experienced at all. My thing is driving a little fast on the track, but the Bronco's not made for that. However, we do also have to mention some sad news. My 21 Badlands had its first, I would call it, significant issue today. Yeah, everything else has just been, a front drive shaft has to be replaced. No big deal. It's a recall thing. But we'll talk about that in just a second. So here's the thing. If you take a vehicle, typical, whether you get a truck, especially a lightweight truck, other than the Ranger Raptor coming out, and you want to do some heavy off-roading, you have to consider your tires. Are you doing all-terrain? Are you doing, like snow tire? What would be the other one? Something like a real hard compound for rock crawling, or something like that. And so you have the all-terrain, you have the snow, and then you have help me out, guys, here. Yeah. Yeah, or the grabbers, right, Brandon? So, you have these different compounds. So all-terrain tires, great. Mostly street driving is perfect, right? Rain, a little bit of sand, no big deal. I know our Goodyears do well. The Territory, they do well in the sand. I mean, we have no issues whatsoever. On the road, a little bit of road noise, but I think it's cool. Soft top sometimes if you're in a tunnel, like we have a lot of tunnels here in Hampton Roads, and so it gets a little loud there, but every other time I'm good. But if you look at the snow or the mud pack in that, if you're doing a lot of mudding, it's not the perfect tire. So then that's where you're doing sort of that mud, that mud terrain type tire, I guess, is the third one. But what about if you're in Canada or parts of the United States that is typically very cold, Gavin, right? You need a special compound, and that compound keeps the tire has somewhat of grip in it, even though it gets very cold. So, and some of those I think are mandatory in certain regions. So, Jonathan Falls, hello, how are you? So you have the tire selection, but then what about body lift and suspension lift? All right. So I know tonight, Bronco Basecamp, we're talking about our Broncos, and we'll circle back to that. Hey, remember what? No, you don't remember. Circle back used to be this funny little thing going around with people, press conferences. But let's see, where was I going with that? Yeah, circle back to that, Gavin. By the way, you haven't said anything tonight. You want to say hello to everyone?
Hello, everyone.
You got to speak to the mic.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining in.
So, if you didn't have a Bronco, Gavin, what would you buy to go off-roading?
Oh,
out of the vehicles, not anything exotic and crazy, something that you could go get off of Facebook Marketplace or
Facebook Marketplace,
Craigslist, or some lemon lot here in town or whatever.
I was gonna say the Raptor R, but I think that's
no. Come on, man. Let's go. No.
Raptor Gen 3.
No. Let's say vehicles that aren't ready for that. All right, so
that aren't ready.
Right, 4-wheel drive. But you really wouldn't think of your hardcore off-roader. What would it be?
I'm just kidding.
Come on. Little effort, my man.
Huh.
So here's the deal. So what if you bought a little, a Nissan, a Toyota, a light, what?
A lifted F-250.
F-250. All right, very good.
Or F-150. Like the lifted one?
Maybe a 150, a little bit lighter.
Uh-huh.
Because, if you think about whether it's the mud or the sand, the weight is not really that great for you. So definitely the lighter, the better. So anyway, so what you would do is say, okay, well, we need skid plates, or we need some type of protective steel underneath it. You need suspension lift to give you your ground clearance. And maybe, you're doing something with the fuel tank if it's a low-hanging tank for departure. even approach. Bumpers, you're changing the bumpers out. You need a winch. You're going off road. You need to be able to get yourself out, especially if you go by yourself, which technically you're supposed to go wheeling with a buddy. Be safe. What else would you need? So let's say we have the tires covered. Yeah, whichever of the three you picked. You have one of the three. You have skid plates. You've modified the bumpers. You've added a winch. What else would we have?
Bush bar.
Huh?
The bush bar. Or the bull bar or whatever you want to call it.
I'm gone in 60. What's going on, my friend? How are you? What was the comment up here? Let's see. TJ. Oh, TJ Miller said, we beat the Ford price hike today. Picked up a big bin off the lot for my wife, MSRP. Thank you, Gavin. Mid-package, rear lockers. Auto now have 2 Broncos as well. Well, congratulations. That is awesome. Congratulations. Yeah, it's kind of funny. You see both of them there. You're like, hey, Yep, that's right. TJ Miller's got the Black Diamond and the Big Ben. That's cool. So, some of these vehicles, well, if you think about the Bronco, right? You order a Bronco, depending on the trim level, how does it come equipped, right? So you can get a base, which is going to obviously have the least amount of stuff. A cool Bronco, don't get me wrong, and a lot of upside for you to do your customizing, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, wouldn't you say? Now, gearbox, transfer case may be a weak point. The fact that you're if you really are going to go hardcore, you're going to change the diff, so that gets expensive, and it is considered. It's not bolt on stuff, right? It's a little more surgery on that one. So I think that if you want to do that hardcore wheeling, you're at a Badlands, right? I mean, Badlands, you could argue a little bit with Wild Track, but with the stay bar disconnect, it's Badlands. But I mean, if you look at building out a base, you've got a good starting point, but you're going to spend some coin on that, and you're going to be right back up where you could have ordered one from Ford, unless you're doing something really hardcore that would exceed something, Black Diamond, Badlands, Wild Track, and of course, the Raptor is going to be hard to beat just simply because overall it's built for, well, the joust or the jump bumpers. I mean, let's face it, the Raptor is a whole different animal. We're talking about from base up to Wild Track. So if you're buying this other, and Andrea, thank you, my friend. Thank you so much. We appreciate you once again. And I hope you're enjoying that awesome white Raptor you've got going on there with the graphics on the side. I don't know if you saw, but Beach Ford had one come in this week, had 30-day tags on it. So I guess they've delivered it by now. Pretty cool. So there's a twin to yours in the area. But yeah, thank you very much, Andrea, for that. I appreciate that. Yeah, we are having a good Wednesday. It's been a weird few weeks. I'm a positive kind of a guy, but what the heck, man. It's like lately it's kind of crazy. Our viewer count's down tonight. Who knows? We seem to have been struggling in that department. I think we fell out of the graces of YouTube. I've been a little too honest on the channel, so our algorithm's suffering a little bit. But I want to get back to this project that we're building, right? I mean, we're not technically building one, but like hypothetically, what would you do to, say, a Ford Ranger that was just made? It's 4-wheel drive and it's made to, say, go. Or what did you say? You said F-150. So Gavin's got an F-150. What would you do to it to make it off-road more capable? But before we get into that, let's talk about my 21 Badlands. So this morning, cranked it up, backing out of the garage. Weird thing happened. Really rough idle. And my heart sank because I know what I thought it was. And I put it in neutral and it cleaned up. And I was like, okay, well, who knows, right? All the electronics, we don't really know what's happening. So I head on. I have about a 20-minute drive. So no problem. I head over. I get to a house we're working on, and I turn it off. Checked on everyone. 10 minutes there. Got in it. Cranked it up. Put it in reverse, and I backed up because I was pulled up behind someone. So I backed up a little bit just so I could, turn out from behind them. And when I stopped and went to shift from reverse to drive, so I'm getting ready to go to neutral and then drive, it cut off. So I get the It was I actually I guess it cut off before I left reverse because it told me to shift to neutral and restart. And so that was twice today, rough idle, and then cut off. And my heart sank again. I was like, oh, geez. So I cranked it up and it ran fine. And then I ran it the rest of the day. Actually drove it to work today, believe it or not. That's probably what it didn't like. It didn't like having to go to work today. Normally it sleeps in the garage for a weekend. But I have no idea. So I immediately called the dealer and they've got me an appointment here in a couple of days. Drop it off and see what it is. So has anyone watching this, whether you're watching live or watching on replay, have you had any issues like that where you've just cut off? Now, when I took my Bronco in before, because we had this weird thing with this software update, the lights came on and cut off, and ever since then it's been fine. I did ask them to double check the electrical connections at the fuse block, the two-piece fuse block, the battery cables, the ground, all that was checked. And I know the tech because he came out and he started talking in detail of what he did and what he checked. So that's been checked. So I don't think it's any loose grounds or anything like that, unless something's loosened up since then, which I think typically they're loose because of manufacturing, not because they've loosened by themselves. Not to mention this Bronco only has about 11,000 miles on it. So what's your thoughts on that? I'd like to know. I mean, God's country overland. Good evening to you as well. What is going on? Thanks for joining us tonight. Brandon Richards. How much does this run? Oh, so we got something here. Oh, that's right. They're talking about the headlights. A set of Morimoto XRGB headlights. Okay, that's what you're talking about. Bird Dog Overland, I think, bought those. I believe you might want to check out Bird Dog Overland's channel. I think he has some of those on his as well. Nick, what's going on? How are you, Nick? Nice to talk to you. Chat with you, I should say. Oh, Jonathan Fall, Bronco Nation has a live right now. Might be why there's less viewers. Yeah, I figured something like that. I mean, I have no idea. I consider them friends. Gavin's not very happy with the fact that it just seems like Wednesday night, and I'm not moving Wednesday nights. My point is to grow this channel to 100,000 viewers, and then our Wednesday nights will look a little bit different. But when we had a live, we kind of looked around the landscape, and I don't care if somebody has two subscribers or 2 million. We were just looking around to say, hey, Wednesday night's peaceful, it's not overcrowded, let's do it. And anyway, but they do what they do and we do what we do. So I appreciate you telling me that, and I figured it must be something like that. All right, so Gavin, let's get back to the F-150. If we build an F-150 project, right, and we want to do, say, what do we want to do with it? Realistically, in our area, we're going to go to the Outer Banks. So we're going to do some sand. We're going to go to the mountains where there's a little bit of rock crawling in there. Nothing like Moab. I mean, trust me, just little ledges here and there, a lot of loose stuff, and a lot of mud and small rocks and mud combination. And that's what's really probably, from what I found, is some of the nastiest to wheel in. When I went to Bronco Off Rodeo in Texas, there was a little bit of that. I think I've told you the story before. I was the last Bronco in the group because I thought, well, first of all, it was the closest to my build. The other ones had been taken. There was this Bronco in the very back. It was a Badlands. It was a Badlands Sasquatch, soft top, and antimatter blue. And let me tell you, the antimatter blue really doesn't. I think it looked fine, but it didn't hold up well in the trees and getting washed like it got washed 2 or 3 times a day, every single day. So it was starting to get worn. But you got to remember, those things are on the trails every day. And in the detailing, let's face it, they're washing those in a hurry. It's like an assembly line. It's not getting the care that we probably take in ours. But the paint was okay. But you could start to see the wear marks on it. But the reason why I got that Bronco is because closest to my build, and we happened to be the last one. So when we would go through the washes when we were there, and it had rained quite a bit before we got there, so we had quite a bit of water in there. When we would go through these washes and go up the other side, we were carrying gravel, mud with us. We were on the slick slopes. We had moss on some of the rocks, and it was my first challenge with crawling a rock and sliding sideways at the exact same time. It was a weird feeling. So it got me thinking, if we were going to build an F-150 to wheel, how would we do it? So we would say, okay, we need sand, and occasionally we want to go to the trails and the mountains. So what tire would we select? Would we do all terrain, or we do a mud tire, or some kind of
all-terrain
grabber? Right. I think an all terrain. So basically, we have the sand, which is the majority of our wheeling is in sand. So the all terrain tires really do well in that. I know they have better selections. You have a better tread pattern or something like hardcore. But what I'm saying is we want to be able to drive it to work and drive it to the beach or drive it to the mountain. So I think all terrain would be good there. Now, if we were out in Moab, it'd be a different story, right? Have a different selection tire. What's your tire budget? $2,000, $4,000, what?
2,000.
2,000? Cool. We'll get you some retreads. So bash plates. What do you think about bash plates? So bash plates necessary in the sand or not? Or just when you're doing some wheeling where you could have a stump?
Depends where you are.
What do you think?
Sand, meaning the beach? Yes. Because driftwood.
Right.
Possibly.
I mean, no. We go around that stuff. We see that a mile away.
Or, yeah, but if you don't. Like, if it's under the sand.
Just ask Johnny. He knows. He's dodged quite a bit of it. Like twice, at least in our area. TJ Miller, yeah, I agree. Buy F-150 trimmer. Yeah, I'm just mean like if you just get something run of the mill off the lot, how far would you take it? I was reading an article and I thought it was interesting. If you look at how Ford built the Bronco, they did take all of the key features into place. The bash plates, the Everglades with the winch, but looking at all the other ones, a bumper that's you can take the end caps off, the modular bumper. The approach and the departure angles pretty well on, especially if you've got the Sasquatch. The gearing, the front rear lockers depend on the trim. So I think they've really done a good job. But I was just saying, hey, if we're going to build something off of a used car lot, Gavin wants to do a 150. Okay, it's a 150. We have bash plates. We have the tires. Do we change the gearing? Now, remember, this truck is not for getting groceries at Kroger. This truck is for going maybe to work occasionally and to the beach and to the mountains and maybe pulling a boat fishing or whatever. So we're going to gear it so that it's going to be probably better in the sand because, as you know, you have to air down properly for the sand. At least it's the law in North Carolina, for example. But you also do it to help the transmission, to help the engine as well. But if you think about it, if you gear it, if you put in a tall enough gear, it's going to really help it with the sand, the nature of, how hard it is to walk in loose sand. Well, guess what? It's a lot of drag. So if you're not going to do any engine work, put in a tall gear. That really helps in the sand. But it sucks when you're driving it on the road. So, if you're headed to the mountains 3.5, 4 hours away, you're tagging some major RPMs. You're not going that fast and you're burning a lot of gas. So right now, gas is not exactly, I guess it's tried to come down a little bit, but it's not where it was 5 or 6 years ago. What you got there? Hey, do you have more comments on here? Because we're not seeing them all in here. I'm Gone in 60 said, here we go. Trimmer is a great trim. Oh, by the way, speaking of I'm Gone in 60, if any of you know someone looking for a code orange Bronco Raptor, I don't know any other details in that. Why don't you connect? Like if you want one or someone looking, connect with I'm Gone in 60 over on Instagram and communicate with him. He's got a line on one, I guess, at the dealership. And there you go. So if you're looking for that code orange, that color that really, really pops, like Ford Performance color, so it's not on all the other trims, definitely recommend you connecting with I'm Gone in 60 on that and see what happens. So there again, if you're watching live, you're watching on replay. If you're in the chat, you know who he is. If you're not in the chat, just look up Instagram, I'm Gone in 60. Shoot him a message and who knows? Maybe it works out. But let's see. Here we go. TJ Miller said, get a 2-door or an extended cab for weight, not long bed or super crew. Gotcha. And that's a good thing. So if you think about the extended wheelbase too, maybe not the best thing to do in the mountains or um, some hardcore where you have articulations. That's a major issue, but definitely for the sand, right? But the one thing I have learned is you don't want a wheelbase too short because then you're bouncing around, like a volleyball. But if your wheelbase is too long, obviously you're going to be bottoming out, right? You're by the time your wheels are over the obstruction, it's under the transfer case or on the skid plate. I'm going to 60. Yeah, there you go. Forgot to say that 1,000 miles on the Code Orange Bronco Raptor. So that is pretty cool. Here you go. Jonathan Falls said, "I'll trade my two-door Sasquatch." Hey, well, you guys talk about that over on Instagram later. So who knows? But I want to tell you right now, we have a build date. I think I hinted around a little bit, Gavin. What did we talk about with the Bronco Raptor and the Dark Horse? About getting both. I mean, we do live in the real world.
Talk about getting both. They'd have to come at different times.
Right.
Like one now, one later.
So we don't have a build date for the Raptor, and so it's not a done deal. I'm not saying this is the way it's going to happen, but it's in the chances of this happening is increasing by every week. What's going to happen is the build date of the Raptor, we're going to get an email or a notification from the dealer, and the order banks are going to open for the Mustang. Right. So we can't get both. I mean, that's not even in a wheelhouse. So not to mention we don't have any place to park everything. The other thing is just ridiculous to have that many at one time that someone's not driving. Now, would Becky drive it? She would drive it. The goal for her is in the next 2 years, get her a new Range Rover. So there comes that point to where, look, let's face it, we work hard, but I don't have that kind of money. Let's see. Awesome. Yeah, there you go. But yeah, I still want the Bronco Raptor, I really do, but we'll see. Time. I don't know why we're waiting so long. Oh, I know. Andrea is hell to the Delta. We can just borrow Andrea's Raptor, Gavin. Yeah. We don't need to buy one. Yeah. Just say, hey, we'll trade you.
Borrow it for a couple of years.
Yeah, a couple of years. We'll bring it back next year, Andrea. I promise.
Maybe in a couple of pieces.
We'll wash it. We'll fill it up. We'll make sure the oil is changed. We'll bring it back next year. But yeah, so let's get back to the fantasy F-150 build since you picked the F-150. We're going to the beach. Occasionally, we're going to go to the mountains, do a little fishing in that hard to get kind of place. We're going to go camping in the valley where Gavin thought there was raptors in the trees. Speaking of raptors.
Oh, yeah.
And there was, screaming at the next, bend. We don't know what that was. It was kind of crazy. Our first trip, by the way, our first legitimate camping trip in the middle of the Shenandoah Mountains. We were in the Shenandoah Valley, for example. We were on the bank of a creek. And if you want to talk about some very odd noises in the middle of the night, it was pretty much, and it's around Luray. So if you know where Luray, Virginia is, we were in that area. It was pretty cool. Mm-hmm. Gavin, and we kind of roughed it the first time anyway. Well, we're going to get back to our build. Don't worry. Speaking of the build, what do we do for camping in the F-150? The off-road vehicle we're building. We have skid plates. We have the right tires. We've changed the gearing. We've got the gearing mainly for our terrain, which is sand here on the East Coast. We have a winch in case we get stuck. Now, if you get stuck on the beach with a winch, let's just hope you have, someone out there in some van or some battle wagon to hook onto to pull yourself out. But there's really nothing to grab a hold of. But let's say the winch is for the mountains, right? Mm-hmm. So the engine runs, it drives. The body's beat up on it, so we don't care if we hit it and scrape it through the trees or whatever. What else do we need? What about camping?
Camper shell.
Camper shell. Come on, man. We got to do you got to go think overlanding.
Camping.
Yeah, camping.
Rooftop.
Think overlanding.
Well,
but it's a pickup truck though, so rooftop's kind of
middle.
Huh?
Bed middle.
Okay, well, What about something like Primo Works? Primo Works, we have some stickers. We met the people that own Primo Works. Where are they based? I think they're based out of Virginia, but they make a lot of overlanding components and a lot of stuff for trucks. So they have these really cool rails that they make that goes from bed rail to bed rail. And so then you can put storage, a top over it, keep everything underneath it stored. But on the same time, on top of it, that's where you can have your tent. So now we've got storage. We've got place for that's protecting out of the weather for theft or whatever. We've got it underneath in the bed of the truck, but then on the bed of the truck, you have a pop-up tent, right? So now you've got the vehicle that, has a decent paint job. Maybe you get a wrap on it. You don't care if you beat it up, but it's now this F-150 is starting to make sense, right? Mm-hmm. But we still have the maneuverability. It's not the perfect off-road vehicle. Typically a smaller truck, a Ranger, a Toyota, a Nissan, something like that would be better for this application. So think about it. Gavin picked the 150, so we're having to build this thing because he picked a big truck. Now, I think someone mentioned, oh, there you go, Gavin. You want to hit this comment from Nick?
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Nick, I'll let the magnet fishing expert tell you all about it in the chat. So we have this build now. We have this bigger vehicle. We're going some wheeling. We're doing some fun stuff. What engine do you have in your F-150, by the way? The F-150 you bought from the Lemon lot that they said, oh yeah, it'll run for 200 more thousand miles and it doesn't leak a drop of oil. What engine do you have in it? Is it some type of EcoBoost, depending on the year of it, or a V8?
V8.
You want a V8. So yes. Why? You want to make all that noise, drink all that gas. Now you have a tall gear, you have a V8, and you don't have any money for gas. Because you're 11 years old and you can't drive and you don't have a job. All right. So anyway, but Dad's going to be giving you the gas card, right? But not the company gas card. Let's see. I'm going to 60 said, don't they make bed-mounted tents for pickup trucks? They do, and there's a lot of companies that make them, but I'll tell you, we met these really cool people with Primo Works. And if you go on Instagram, you'll see their stuff. They were at Overlanding East, for example, and we met them in Townsend, Tennessee last April. They have some really cool products and a lot of stuff for overlanding, a lot of stuff for truck, and who knows, maybe Broncos in the future. I don't know, but they have a lot of stuff in the works. So check out Primo Works over on Instagram. Like I said, really nice people too, by the way. You talk forever with them. Feel like you kind of know them after you talk to them for 5 minutes. But they actually had one of their trucks there with their products on it, and that's what made me think about that. Bed-mounted tent, and it collapses. It's only maybe a foot tall, or if that. But it pops up. It's so. When the when the tent is mounted on the bed rails in the back and it's down, you can still see over the rearview mirror, which is, that's cool. You don't want everything behind you so you can't see it. All right. What color is your Lemon Lot F-150 that you bought that someone didn't take care of before you owned it? Now your dad's got to help you rebuild every nut and bolt on it.
White.
White. Why white?
Because.
Okay.
I like it.
So it's white. All right. Nothing wrong with white, but it's like so this is a work truck, F-150 work truck, like we have at work. So we have that. All right, cool. So now we're building this thing out. What wheels do you have on it, Gavin? Do you have aluminum? Do you have steelies? What do you have? You don't really care because you're going to tear them up, or what do you have? What wheels do you want it to look good driving down the road, or you want a durable wheel for the trails?
Durable wheel for the trails that look good, but not steelies.
Okay, good job. You answered like all three of those are spot on. So you want the appearance, you want the durability, and you don't want the basics, right? So the steelies is more in the basics.
Steelies, no.
Steelies look good on a Bronco because it's sort of that retro. You think about that.
Only two-door.
Oh well.
No.
Really? Well, yeah, you're right. You're right. Two-door. Bronco, Steelies, it all kind of fits. Everything else gets kind of
or like the Heritage because white top, red color was Steelies.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. Appreciate that. Yeah. Don't forget, hit that thumbs up for me if you don't mind. And we're just shooting a breeze here. Hey, next week, by the way, we might have an in-studio guest. This is a let's say a Jeep owner, Jeep fan, previous Jeep owner, whatever you want to say, but somebody that's familiar with Jeep. And the plan is right now, if this works out next Wednesday, I'm going to let them drive the Bronco. And next Wednesday night, if we can work it out, we're going to do a live in studio sort of a show. So I'll have a co-host next week, which won't be Little Man here.
Here, text me who it is.
All right, I will.
Because I don't know.
So we're going to look at some real estate.
Him letting someone drive the Bronco is rare. So
Yeah.
so it has to be someone.
Got to be a buddy of
Really?
mine. Got to be a buddy of mine. So anyway,
That
so
you've been-
we're going to look at some real estate. We're going to ride around the Bronco, and we're going to talk Bronco Basecamp next Wednesday night, regardless of who's having a stream. But it'd be nice to see someone from the Jeep side of things. Honest opinion. I don't care. He can't hurt my feelings. I love my Broncos, but we'll see what he thinks. So maybe just tune in next week, and I'll promo that. You know, we'll definitely advertise that quite a bit. We didn't advertise tonight because Gavin and I are just shooting the breeze. But I do want to talk about this building thing. So look, when you buy a Bronco, I guess where we're going with this whole fantasy F-150 lemon lot, that vehicle that we bought that leaks oil, and Gavin thinks it's the best thing because what he wants, right?
Well, not exactly what I want, but
Close enough. It's what you could get with your grass cutting money this summer.
Mhm.
So anyway, all jokes aside, if you look at the Bronco and you look at the Jeep as well, but let's talk Bronco because it is Bronco Basecamp, not Jeep Basecamp. Ford built this thing to compete with the other brands, but they also built it not just to compete, but they built it to raise the bar. You know, I'll go a little let's see, what do you want to call it? Motivational type genre here. The original definition of compete wasn't you win, I lose, I win, you lose. It was each makes each other better. So a good team plays a slightly team with not just as good, and each time they try to one up each other.
Mhm.
I think what you have here is not a one win, one loses. What you have here between Jeep and Ford right now with the Bronco is you have a competition, and the old definition is one makes the other one better, not the new definition. Somebody wins, someone loses. Now there again, I'm all about winning. I'm all about success. Don't get me wrong. I'm not like second place, third place trophies, but what I'm saying is the original intent was the competition really helps each other, right? The harder you play, the more you learn, right? So, Jeep's going to do something different, and then Ford's going to do something different, and then Jeep's going to do something different. And what happens is the Bronco, if you're a Jeep fan, you've got to be happy because you know that they have to do something to the Jeep to really raise the bar. So if you want to buy a new Jeep, you should expect, now this is, if it goes as planned, you should expect something better next year than this year, and vice versa. Ford's the same way. Ford says, okay, you did that, watch this. That makes it great for the brands to enjoy technology instead of, if I was a Jeep fan, then I would say, well, geez, it didn't change for so long. But when competition shows up, then they're forced to change it. And that's cool too. And that's what the original definition of competition is. But getting back to the fantasy build and the Bronco, how does this all close back? Because we're going to kind of close this up a little bit with that, is the fact that you buy a Bronco, if you get a Badlands, you get pretty much every single thing that you want and need. Now, when you start sticking 40-inch tires on it, right, Gavin? Or there was I don't know if this was AI has kind of screwed everything up. So I don't know if it was an AI, let's see, illustration, or if it was a real, but this Bronco had 44s on it. That's like insane, right? I remember my brother's F-250 with tires like that. Great big truck. But if you think about that, the suspension is not made to handle the mere weight, the mass of those tires. And then, Gavin, what happens when you take that tire and you sink it in a hole and you hit a rock and you're bouncing around? You multiply the weight, the mass.
Yeah.
And so something is going to give. And so it's just an interesting time that we live in, that Ford does build this vehicle that I'm comfortable driving on the road. I love it. I'm comfortable driving it on the beach. Don't have any issues with maneuvering the loose sand. I mean, the packed sand's no big deal to anything really, but the loose sand's where you get into it. And then I haven't taken our Broncos in the mud and the gravel yet, but in Texas Bronco off rodeo we did, and I thought that was pretty cool. That man, this thing is comfortable to drive on the road, but it's a beast, on the trail. Remember when Kyle took us the first year at Super
How can I
Celebration?
forget?
Yeah,
That was I think
Gavin was sort of. What were you
spirited
doing in the
ride.
back seat? Tell
Bouncing
everybody.
around
Huh?
with the Canon M50.
Yeah, so Gavin is holding a big Canon camera, big shotgun mic on it. He's in the middle seat in the back, seat belted in. And I turned around and looked at him, and he's doing this. And he's hanging on to the camera, getting the shot. Man, he's just a trooper. But the point of that is we left Super Celebration East, and we drove down this road, this asphalt road, and it was like driving like in a car. You turn, you go down this dirt path, and then you're bouncing around. You're in the holes, you're in the ruts. You do a little bit of rock crawling. You went from one extreme to another, and that's the thing that the Bronco has. Unfortunately, the Jeep doesn't have that kind of comfort on the road, but Ford has managed with the IFS to do both. Now there is a downside, right? It's maybe when you're putting the big tires on it and you are rock crawling, then there's some weak links in there. And I think that's probably going to be worked on in the future. I know Bronc Buster's he's got some components to help strengthen the rack and the tie rods. And of course, the Raptor has a heavy duty rack in it, as well as a heavy duty tie rod. So we'll see how those are holding up. What are you looking at? Oh, you got to go? Mm-hmm. So you commented and didn't tell me.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to leave me hanging. You're going to leave me
looking at the comments.
I'm talking. How can I look at the comments when I'm talking? That's your job. You're the co-host.
Yeah. Well,
all right. Good night, sir. See you, man. All right.
Yeah.
Well, look, I have the mic all to myself tonight. I can talk a little louder into it. But what I was saying was, if you look at the Bronco, it's pretty cool. And I think that the older our Broncos get, the more extreme stuff we're going to do. I mean, Becky's Bronco is the one that really gets, beat up a little bit around here. My Bronco's engine. I drove it to work today. That's a first. All right. It's a sacrifice, right? But and then of course today it didn't like it, so now it has to go back. And I'll report back on what the issue was with it. I think it's electrical, right? Thing ran great the rest of the day, so it's intermittent electrical issue. But if you look at the Bronco versus trying to build something, I think you end up with, if you want the vehicle but not the glory of building it, you have the old built not bought stuff. I don't really care. Like, I could care less. If I can buy a dark horse or I can build off of a 6th-gen Mustang, I'm going to buy the dark horse because I get a warranty with it. Now, is there fun in rebuilding the old car? Sure, there is. Like a 66 Mustang, part of it's building that car. But if I've got a 19 Mustang GT and I want to build it up to a hot rod, or I can buy a dark horse, I'm going to buy a dark horse because the cars look similar. Let's face it, Ford did change it, but the technology in that car is so much different in the dark horse. But I'm getting a warranty. I'm getting a 500 horsepower hot rod. Of course, you're going to pay a little bit for it, but you could pay $20,000 to $30,000 for a 18 GT right now, and then sink $40,000 into it. Well, you might as well get a dark horse. But if we're talking old school, older cars, right? Let's go back to Fox Body older, right? All the way back. I know most of you want to skip over that 77 to 70 range, or right in there, or maybe 77 to 74. But then you get right back into the older school Mustangs, the 64.5 to 66 was really the same style. 67, 68 was one style. And then 69 through 72 or 73. So, that's when you get the fun of it. You get the glory of it. You get the parts, the pieces. You get to do some of the work yourself, maybe hire some of the work out. And when you finish, you have this car that there's sweat equity in it. There's pride. There's working with your son, like my dad and I did to this car behind me, the black car here. You get all that in there, right? So there's the satisfaction of getting the work done. I think, though, that switching from cars back to the F-150 Bronco thing, if you want a vehicle to build off of, buy the Bronco and then start adding and modifying it. if you want the glory of the build, get the base and totally rebuild it, or keep it a base. I don't really, yeah. Anyway, look, let's go through the comments. I want to see what everybody's talking about tonight. I'm done with what I had to talk about. And oh, here we go. Let's go back to some of the earlier comments. What we got here? Okay, Gavin, let's start with the magnet fishing. So, yeah, we're going to upload all those videos to Gavin's Toy Garage. By the way, if you're watching right now, after the show, head over, look up Gavin's Toy Garage and subscribe to his channel. He would appreciate that. We're going to start uploading some of the videos, the other videos that we do, because what I found was I looked at the numbers, and the magnet fishing is just not cutting it on this channel. Even though I think it's cool, I think it's fun. Where you have more subscribers and more videos, maybe it melds into it. But right now at this point, it doesn't. So we're not doing that. Jonathan Fall. Oh, wait a minute. Nick says, we've got snow flurries here. That's pretty cool. Jonathan Fall said blizzard here. Wow. So it looks like you guys are dealing with it right now. What's going on, Ryan? What is happening? Yeah, I hear you. I haven't chatted with you here in a little bit. TJ Miller said PA is going to be 70 tomorrow. They're expecting 83 degrees here in Hampton Roads tomorrow. We'll see if it happens. The thing about Hampton Roads is typically this time of the year it's cold. But in the spring, when we get the spring, it can be 50 degrees on the coast and literally 70 or 80 in Williamsburg. So a 45-ish minute drive can change it by 20, 30 degrees. Ryan says 74 in Atlanta. All right. So you know what that means, right? We're talking weather and Broncos. That means if you have a soft top, it's easy. Drop the top. If you have a hard top, take a couple panels out and be done with it. You don't have to take the whole top off. Yeah. Nick said, hey, Ryan, send some of that 74 degrees weather my way. You know what? It's kind of weird here this year. We had snow flurries in Hampton Roads one day. Like literally, if you tried hard enough, you could probably counted the flurries like barely. We haven't had anything like that. I mean, we had some cold weather around Christmas, but no moisture in there. So, but Gavin's out, so we'll say goodbye to Gavin again. Jonathan Fall said, send some of that heat to Michigan too. Yeah, we'll send what we can. Don't worry. Come summertime, we'll be sending a lot of it. We, if you look at, so I used to be in the heating and air conditioning business before real estate, and we still do a little bit of that. We're thinking, I don't know. We just feel like this summer's going to be extremely busy for the HVAC contractors in our area. So I'm glad we do a little of it for our sakes, right? So we don't have to stand in line. I'm going in 60. Thank you for saying that. I will let him know. Or maybe he commented already. TJ Miller said, wife needs side steps. I'd like something that covers the pinch welds and hang down to the stock running boards. Any suggestions? Head over to Mountains to Metal, mountainstometal.com, I think it is. Check out some of their accessories and see if anything they have works. I know there are pinch weld, I don't know if you'll call it, not covers, but something that covers the pinch weld. So you've got that. But try Mountains to Metal first. See what you think about their steps, and email them. If they don't have anything for the pinch weld, send them an email and see if they've got something in the works, maybe. And who knows, if they don't, maybe they can recommend someone, or I can research it for you. Of course, you can do that as well. Let's see. Yeah, Nick said, Gavin, let me know how the magnet fishing goes. Yeah, thanks for saying that, Nick. Gavin really, I got to say, I like it too. The magnet fishing is interesting. I was hoping it was going to do better on the channel. But who knows? I'm going in, wrong comment here. I'm going in 60, said it was 87 today. Wow. Straight up like summer weather. Yeah. Last week had 32 degree morning. So I'm going in 60. Yeah. That's, around here, you get those extremes too. Maybe frost on the windshield in the morning and 70 in the afternoon. I mean, that's kind of the extreme, but we get it. But tonight is actually warming up as the night goes on. Kind of strange. And then tomorrow is supposed to be 83 degrees. Jonathan Falls, any idea how the Mickey Thompson Baja tires are? Anyone want to comment on that? I don't know. I honestly, I don't know. So someone may be able to comment on that and help us out. I think, someone that does hardcore wheeling, and I don't mean occasional. I mean, every weekend you see the pictures, the videos. They're on Instagram, they're YouTubing, like you're ripping it up each weekend. Definitely somebody that can give you that honest approach or opinion on that. I don't know. I know that for me, I need a tire that's good on the road, but also good in the sand, because our main deal is the sand. My mom wants to go surf fishing. She wants to go fishing. I said, well, and then she wants to go to the beach. Well, we're going to the Outer Banks, so we can do both. We can knock this out. You don't have to walk some long ride. She doesn't want to go on a boat. So that leaves probably for surf fishing, Oregon Inlet. We'll go down there this year and do some fun stuff like that. But my point being is that we mainly go to the beach. So I need a tire that's fitting for that, and also a tire that will work in the mountains on occasion. Gavin and I are headed back to our camping spot. Well, we're going a little bit further down the valley, but we're going back there probably in March. And, we're going to plan it. If it's cold that weekend, we'll postpone it. But if it's going to be warm, we'll keep it. And, we're going to see. I think if we go further back down the trail where we're going to get into a lot, depending on the rain, a lot more mud, a lot more loose gravel. Hey, we'll see how the tires do. I know in Texas at Off Rodeo, the what do you call it? The territory, the Goodyear territories, they did fine. I mean, for what we were doing. And I think they definitely picked a course that the tires would do good on. I mean, what is that? You build a course and the tires don't meld with it. That wouldn't work either. But I like the territory tires. I like the sound they make. It's not too loud for me. Some people have a different threshold for it. I will say, like I said at the beginning of the show, if you're in a tunnel around here, it's obnoxiously loud anyway. But I like the sand. I like the road, the comfort. The only thing I don't like are the rocks. So they do pick some rocks up, and then that's the tread width or the tread pattern. So if you do something like a KO2 or KO3, where you have a little bit wider space in the tread, you have a wider flat tread, that might be a good option if you want to get rid of the rock dings. Becky and I haven't had a terrible amount of the rock dings. I mean, we've got a couple, but we're not too concerned about it. I don't really care. All right, let's see. Nick said, I'm sold on the BFG all-terrain tires. I've got the KO2s for my 1970 Bronco. Good deal. Yeah, so Nick's an expert on that. Well, has the tires. He knows what they are, and he likes them. I'm sure, Nick, you've had other types of tires on there, or at least in other vehicles. So I do hear good things about the BFGs, so that's a good thing. Wait a minute. What is this? Chief 3158, March 6th, build week for my Bronco. Congratulations. That is awesome. I'm happy for you. I really am. That is awesome. Oh, by the way, tonight's just we're talking hypothetical F-150 off-road vehicle build, lemon lot vehicle that Gavin bought with his grass cutting money this summer. We're talking Bronco. Do you get the base? Do you get the Badlands or the Raptor? I want to see how many Raptors get beat up in the woods. I've seen a few, and Middleton Motorsports, they're always like the donut king of Instagram is Middleton Motorsports. Man, they're like the donuts. But I did see a few of the snowpack jumps, or whatever you want to call it, the drift jumps. Pretty cool. But all in all, what do you do? Do you buy that older vehicle and you modify it? Do you get a new Bronco base and modify it, or do you just get one that's ready to go and then tweak it a little bit? Anyway, hey, Chief 3158, what do you have on order? What's being built? What trim do you have? Oh, there you go. You answered that. 2-door base. Good deal. So, perfect example. You have the Bronco we're kind of hypothetically talking about tonight. So you're the expert guest tonight by default. What are you going to do with it? Are you going to build it up, or are you going to keep it a base? Are you going to keep it kind of how it comes, or what are you going to do with it? Like, what's your vision for it? I'd definitely like to know, because I'm talking all these hypotheticals. It'd be nice to say, "See, I told you." Nick said, "I'm on the second set of all-terrain tires since I've had my Bronco. Good deal." Hey, Nick, I talk to a lot of people that they just rave about the BFGs. Like, they love the tire. They think it's great. I don't I don't have any experience with them, so I don't know. I mean, I'd love to be able to, act like I know everything about off-roading, but I don't. I just know that what we have is working well for us in our terrain. I'm gone in 60 said Raptor Connection posted pics of a lowered F-150 Raptor. Good deal. So, sorry, folks, we're getting somebody's blowing up the old Instagram here. Oh, also, somebody's talking about Whistling Dixie, by the way. I don't know if you saw his video with the Ferrari. They put the bubble wrap on it, and he went wheeling technically in a Ferrari. It's kind of crazy. Oh, let's see. Cincy Cycle, dig that hat. Awesome. Thank you. You know where I found this hat? I found this hat in the actual, if you're talking about my hat, which is the only one on video. The only, well, there's two stores between Townsend, Tennessee and Pigeon Forge, Tennessee on Wares Valley Road. And there's this old store when you walk in, the floors creak and crack. And I think they spaced them so they would do that. And they probably put sand in there so it does it, makes it feel old. We've actually done that before on a build in a house to make the floors sound that way. You wouldn't believe what we've built. When you work for Extreme Makeover Home Edition, you pretty much build anything. But in between Townsend, Tennessee, Pigeon Forge on Wares Valley Road, we got this hat from a little place there. Like $27 for this hat. Like, well, I could get a hat cheaper, but I couldn't get this hat cheaper. Now, if you go to Super Celebration East this April, there is right at Wares Valley Road and whatever road that is that Supercell is on by the visitor center, there is a Sasquatch store. This little wood store there that they sell all the Sasquatch stuff. So Gavin has a bunch of the Sasquatch sweatshirts, Smoky Mountain Sasquatch. That's the name of their little business there. You could probably find them online. So if you want Sasquatch gear, you can go to them. This hat, though, did come from a mom and pop shop down the road. And I'm going to stop by and see if I can get me another one as well. All right, let's see. Cincy Cycles. Yep. Okay. Chief 3158, slowly build it up. Perfect. So it's one of those things, you don't have this agenda to get it done in a certain length of time. It's tinker with it, do what you want to do, wheel with it, have fun with it, find out where you may want to improve, and then do that. And the improvement may just be you want to add lights, right? More lights on it, or a winch, or something on the inside, or maybe it's diffs or whatever. So, well, good for you. I'm glad you got it. I am glad you got it. Well, glad you're getting it, I should say. Let's see. Anyway, folks, what do you want to talk about tonight? Last call for new comments. We're going to be heading out, and I see the viewer count going up. I guess I'm not going to do it live here, but let's see. It's 9:30. I'm sure the other channels closed down by now. Look, next week we have a guest. We're going to be able to compare Jeep owner, me, the Bronco owner. What does the Jeep guy think about it? What is he? I say Jeep person, I should say someone that's owned Jeeps. What do they think? The comparison between getting out of a Jeep, getting in a Bronco, exactly. A lot of you, if you're watching this live or on replay, maybe you have both. You have a Jeep now and a Bronco. I just want to hear it from someone that's never been in a Bronco, drive it that day and talk about it that day, right? Having time to marinate and all that other stuff. And I'm sure the conversation will go back to real estate, being that's the business we're in. But it'll be a fun interview. And if everything goes well, there again, let me give this caveat. It's all a theory right now, planning it for next week. Hopefully it happens. But as of right now, it should happen. Shouldn't be no big deal. So yes, definitely going to be fun. So we can't wait. Wild Raptor 2023 US 321. There you go. Thank you for that. Yeah, but yeah, I was trying to think. I always like giving people, shout outs that have a cool place. So the people at Smoky Mountains, is it Rocky? No, Smoky Mountain Sasquatch, I think it is. I wear the sweatshirt once in a while. They're really good people there. They have some cool stuff in there, a lot of one-off type stuff. So definitely check them out online. And if you're in that area, go from there. Nurse AJ said it. Listen to the boss. She said, anyway, thank you, Nurse AJ, for that. Yeah, definitely, please. And thank you for reminding me. Hit that like button. It helps YouTube spread the word. If you've noticed, we haven't had a lot of videos landing here lately. I don't live on YouTube. I actually have a business to run. And right now it's, I wrote this book, Driven, right? So if you're looking for a good read, now this is going to be a sales pitch. Okay. I'm sorry. Don't go anywhere. But if you believe in manifesting or visualization or just busting your butt and hard work, this is the book for you. You can go to drivenwildgear.com. I would be forever grateful if you picked up a copy of it. We'll ship it right out. I'll autograph it if I can say it. But I wrote this book a few years ago. I think just because I had a story to tell. So if you're 13 and you want something, what do you do about it? Well, you work. Gavin's 11. He's already starting. He's going to window wash and cut lawns this summer, I guess, if you can do that at his age. Who knows anymore? But that's what he wants to do, right? Because he's already seeing he wants to hustle. But what I started to say was I haven't been doing a lot of videos lately because I will be honest with you. We are planning for the next 12 months. And if you're in business for yourself, the next 12 months will be interesting. It's going to be very interesting. And like I said, we don't talk politics on this channel at all, but there's a reality. Look around, chicken's not laying eggs and eggs cost $30 or whatever. But there's just some obstacles that we're having to run through. And unfortunately right now, business has taken more time than I've been able to produce videos. I don't wake up in the morning and look for the breaking news and do a video on it before I go to work. I can't do that, or I can't do it as soon as or at work, I can't do it. So I apologize if our new content is down. I really do, but bear with me. As soon as we free up a little time, I did make a post yesterday. I'm very grateful for everyone that watches our channel. For those of you watching right now, look, I appreciate you. You have a couple billion things you could be doing right now, technically, if you look at the internet. And the fact that you're here joining and watching us show tonight, I'm grateful. I know Gavin is, and we definitely appreciate you. And I look forward to the comments, the back and the forth. But what I was going with that, I'm not tearing up or anything, but seriously, business has been one heck of a ride for us lately. And, that I focus. And my focus has been on that, not unfortunately on new content. We did do, by the way, and that's, by the way, not by choice, it's by bandwidth. Like there's only so much space, real estate right here. So unfortunately I got to pick, but we did do the walk around of the Outer Banks. And that's something we didn't talk about here. And TJ Miller, that's a good comment here. Hang on. We'll get right to that. One thing we didn't talk about was the walk around. I don't think we talked about it last week, but the walk around between the azure gray Outer Banks and my Area 51. When you look at these colors on Ford's website, Area 51 and azure gray, they almost look the exact same. But after this live stream, after you hit the like button, thanks, and subscribe if you haven't already, go back and look at the video where we did the comparison, and the thumbnail shows the two Broncos facing each other. The azure gray is darker and it has metallic in it. And the metallic that Ford used in that paint is wild. It's not a solid one color metallic. You see pinks and purples and silver and who knows what else in there. That Bronco, that paint job on that Bronco is so strange. So when we got to the dealership and pulled it around and we had to get set up for filming, the sun was out and it had one distinctive really look to it. It was very rich looking, Gavin called it sparkles. Don't tell him I said that. But he said, "Oh, look at the sparkles." But it had a lot of that flake in it, and you could see the sun just really bouncing it off. And when as soon as the sun went behind the clouds, because if you notice that video, there's a lot of clouds in the background. As soon as the sun went down, it totally changed to it looked flat until you get up on it. And obviously because the sun's not reflecting off all the flake in the paint. But I just thought it was interesting that at night it really legitimately looks like one color, and during the day or in the sunlight it looks totally like another color. So very, very interesting contrast there. TJ Miller, Gavin's kart racing. We haven't done much of it. We have been back a little bit. So when we talked to Dennis over at Gravedigger, he was he was advising me that Gavin needs not another four-wheeler, but definitely needs something with a cage around him, giving me some real helpful advice. So Gavin has this fearless streak in him, which bothers me as a parent. So his kart racing goes very interesting whenever he goes. These karts are fast for their age group. They're not the little ones that barely get out of the way. These cars you can drift with. They're the fastest in the state for that, for the rent-a-kart, pretty much that you can get. They are the absolute fastest in the state, and one of the fastest in the country. And you do have to sign your life away. So Gavin is, he gets in it and he drives it, man. And I got to tell you, I got to kind of, I'm not going to push him in that space, but I'm going to support him, if that makes any sense. Nurse AJ said, "Oh, Azure Gray is pretty." Look, it's not a word I use on paint often, but it is. It is very nice looking. Nick said, "Already smashed the like button." All right, Nick. Well, thank you very much. I definitely appreciate that. See how Nurse AJ said, "I will get it for sure. Got hired for a second job working ER besides my day job." Yeah, look, I'm not kidding you. If you guys see the picture here right behind me. So I'm trying to do this in reverse. It's kind of odd. So this is inside the car. This is the driver's floorboard of the 66 Mustang GT. Now, when you read the book, you'll find out that I owned this car. I sold it, and it ended up from a running and driving, good-looking car to this. Funny thing was, my life, when I got this car back in 1997, if this car was a metaphor, this was my life. Like, do you realize in 1997, I couldn't buy a roll of chocolate chip cookie dough? I didn't have enough money. I was 27 years old, and I couldn't buy chocolate chip cookies. It's in the story. It's pretty cool. And I was determined. That was considered, God. Anyway. Not to go off on that rant. DrivenWildGear.com. Pick up a copy of Driven. I would greatly appreciate it. It would help our channel. And while we're doing that, let's do something here while I'm doing this. And hopefully I don't mess up the stream in the way. Oh, there you go. If you want the website, DrivenWildGear.com. I think it's important, as Gavin and I, we have fun doing this Bronco stuff. This is not a lifestyle. This is not a job for me. This is fun. And so therefore the content is not even. It's not accurate. As far as the dates, the content's accurate, but I mean the scheduling, right? We're not doing this accurate Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or 4 times a week or whatever. Our content is posted whenever I get it filmed, get it edited, and feel like getting it out. However, I do respect the fact that there needs to be some more structure in that. So we're going to definitely try to do 3 times a week. I think that's definitely something I can manage, especially right now. We can manage that. And also it's predictable because I want you to be able to say, hey, it's Monday or Tuesday, whatever day we decide to do this, launching new videos. And you say, hey, let's go check it out. What's new for this week? I definitely want to do that. So I do respect the fact that we have some, sort of these schedules in our head and predictability. And YouTube always says if you can do things on a schedule, it's always more predictable than just random dropping stuff. Now, shorts are another story. Shorts are whenever you get them filmed, you dump them. There's different times of the day. And I do want to know something. There's 24 watching right now. What do you think about shorts, whether it be TikTok, Reels on Instagram, or shorts on YouTube? Do you like the longer form content where you can hear more, or do you like the condensed shorts with text on the screen? So maybe you're not having to watch a complete review, but you're seeing the engine bay in a vehicle, or you're seeing the interior in a vehicle, or the diffs, the drivetrain, or whatever you want to say it. I'd love to know. Definitely comment and let me know what you think. All right, let's get back to the content. Nick said, I like the Area 51 better. Nick, I agree with you. There's something about the Area 51. If you watch me from the beginning, you'll know when I was waiting for my Bronco, every time I would see another one, I was thinking, well, maybe that's the color I want. And I would always go back to Area 51. I'm so happy that's the color we ended up with. Some people don't like it. I get it. Like, I like all the Bronco colors. I mean, the black and the white are stable, right? They're like, okay, those are solid colors all day long. But then I think when you get into certain colors, they look better with certain trims, right? So let's take a race red with a soft top. I think looks better than race red with a hard top. Now, I'm not saying I don't like it. I'm saying if we had to put two next to each other. And the reason for that is the contrast between the black top and the red paint versus the MIC, the darker gray, and the red paint. So I think certain colors really look good when you have that big contrast between them. The Area 51 with the soft top, I think looks better. There again, I like them both, but if you had to say, okay, which one would you prefer for the color? It would be Area 51 in soft top versus Area 51 in hard top. Now, for some reason, Eruption Green looks better with the MIC hard top than it does the soft top. I don't know. Now, that's also my opinion, which you know what that's worth. You know, we all have them. Let's see. Nurse AJ said, race red OB. Yeah, and yeah, I've seen pictures of your Bronco on Facebook. Beautiful Bronco, especially you washed it. I think I saw a picture when you washed it a few weeks ago, and it just sparkles. There was a time to where Becky's Bronco, which is Eruption Green, before they announced Eruption Green was going to be race red. And the only reason I went Eruption Green is, well, we like green, but it was so different, and at that point, I was one of the first to order the Eruption Green. We hadn't seen any when we got ours. I don't think we'd seen any on the road. I've seen them on, social media, somebody taking delivery, but we hadn't seen any in the area. And I'll never forget it when I saw it. I was like, yeah, that's the color. However, if Eruption Green wasn't a choice in 22, her Bronco would be race red. So definitely our second one from there. Nick said, like full video version. Thank you, Nick, for that. I appreciate you commenting. Chief 3158, both, anything Bronco 4x4 related, I'll watch it. Good deal. Let's see. Nurse AJ said, I love the Eruption Green. It is so classy. Yeah, it's cool. And when it's clean and in the direct sun, you get a lot of the bronze look out of it. Yeah, I said gold in the beginning. I think bronze is more accurate. And I think that's why a lot of people put the bronze wheels on there, because it pulls that bronze flake out of the paint. Look, that was a win-win for me. I think Ford with that color did it well. I had a green Mustang for years. That was emerald green. Yeah, a little bit. Emerald green compared to Eruption Green had like a purple in it. It's kind of strange. Let's see. Dirk Connor said, I agree with Nurse AJ. Full videos preferable. Okay, thank you. I'm working my way back up. I'm going in reverse, by the way. I'm going to 60. Said, I like full videos, but sometime I'll have time to do some. I have time to upload shorts. And you know how it is. Yeah, you're doing the videos all the time. I really like full video. I can't watch live. Always catch replay. Thank you for that. And I appreciate you watching this on replay. Yeah, I think the reason why I like long form, because you're able to better explain something. Today we had we had a meeting where we're talking about marketing, and this is kind of cool. This is YouTube related, I guess. In real estate, longer form videos has always been the staple. And some of these meetings, when you go to, you feel like you're always a year behind. Um, in today's meeting, it was very accurate. You know, it was like marketing skills and things that need to change. And one of the biggest takeaways I have is the if you start taking all of this information, we have so many things popping at one time. We have so much distraction, so much noise in this world, which is why I don't talk politics here. I think politics is just, I think it's a disease of some kind. I don't understand it. People hate each other that would normally like each other because of politics. So we don't talk about it here, even though I just did, I guess. Ugh. Anyway, but what I'm saying is that when you look at content, right, we have so much going on in the world that sometimes shorts is a quick way to get an emotion. It's a quick way to see something in a hurry while you're going somewhere. There's a crazy number. About 70% of people watch video in public, watch it on silent. So it's hard for some of these softwares, and I don't think you want to read a novel. If we have a 30-minute video and we put text on the entire video, it's going to be like you're reading a book. So if you think about in public, if the number's correct, 70% of people watch videos with no sound, unless you're doing some really crazy, jumps and stunts and things like that, a walk around video doesn't work with no volume, right? It's kind of like really boring. So if you do a short and put text on it, well, that makes sense, right? Because it's only going to last anywhere between 15 and 60 seconds. If you're on YouTube, and I think you can go longer than that on Instagram, but you can read the text and you don't feel like you're reading a book. So I think that if you're looking for content in particular, if you follow a channel, if you're looking for something about a Bronco or some off-road vehicle or whatever, a car, it could be how to work on your dryer, you need the long form. But if you're looking to be easily amused while you're waiting on a meeting, waiting on your lunch to be made, if you're standing in line at the fast food place, then maybe short term is it. So I'm from the camp that maybe there's a blend, because I want to give you what you're looking for. I want to give you content that you're genuinely interested in. Like if I ever do a video and you just think, man, why did they do that? Tell me in the comments. I don't take it personal. I have thick skin. Trust me. The comments are slight amusing sometimes, even though they're also educational, because someone may not know it, but they're trying to insult you. But at the same time, they're giving you sort of what they really feel about something. And I take it like, all right, other than the nice words you used, I get kind of what you're saying. So we build off of that. But YouTube's funny. And the only reason I'm going down this road is I just wanted to let you know that I appreciate you watching, and I want to give you more of the content that you're looking for. And once the economy gets back to where it's predictable for us in the real estate again, and all that good stuff, then I'll have a lot more time to do some cool stuff. Anyway, let's go into comments here. I just been avoiding those for a second, nothing personal. Bird Dog Overland. Shorts are mainly geared toward people with short attention spans. I hear you. I prefer doing long form, even though shorts are easier, but unfortunately, YouTube is really pushing them. YouTube is trying to take over from TikTok. I do agree with that. Yeah. Nick said, yeah, I don't like to talk politics either. Yeah. And this channel, there's like, I don't ever even want it mentioned in the comments, because it's like, you could go watch any news channel and get your brain scrambled if you want to. I don't care. But here's like, let's talk fun stuff, man. I want everybody to get along. I love everybody. Let's see. Michael Cooper, I prefer long term. Okay. Good deal, Michael. Thank you for that. So this is really, really helping. Hey, a Bird Dog, I mentioned your channel earlier. Can you tell me because I think I know, but what headlights did you just get for your Bronco? And of course, after this live stream, head over to Bird Dog Overland and check out his install video. But which ones were they? Let's see. Chief 3158. Eruption green was my second choice color, but went with Oxford white. You cannot go wrong with Oxford white. And I know this because every one of our work vehicles are Oxford white. And my F-250 is technically a work vehicle, but that's my like office on wheels. It's Oxford white. I love it. And Nick said he likes the eruption green. Also like velocity blue. Yeah, Nick, I think velocity blue is very cool. There was what color was that? Trying to think. I think it was velocity blue and silver. I don't know if you saw that on social media. And it wasn't iconic silver. Someone added another color silver. And I guess what they did was they got a velocity blue Bronco and they wrapped the center of it with the silver color. So it was a wrap on it. It really looked sharp. And the wheels that they picked for it, they did do, I think it was a chrome and matte kind of a wheel. The Bronco was so clean looking, like the two-tone deal. I would say that's in Ford's future, probably. And to save on money, it's going to be a straight shoot of the same color, but probably a PPF, a colored kind of a PPF in the middle for the two-tone might be a factory option. Obviously, whenever Ford has their hands full filling the orders now. So I think when it gets down to more of an ebb and flow between manufacturing and vehicle inventory, when they're able to jazz up a certain trim, they'll probably offer a two-tone, I think. And I would say the second tone would be probably a PPF. Okay. White stays cool, doesn't show dirt or scratches. As far as I agree. Look, I love what's it called? Shoot, I'm drawing a blank. Help me out here. The dark blue, the one that discontinued. Was it? I just said it earlier. I'm drawing a blank. I'm getting, it's getting late. Antimatter blue. Let's see. New, clean, washed up antimatter blue is so cool looking, but it doesn't age well if you're doing heavy wheeling with it, right? And you're not washing it like paranoid me washes my Bronco. So I think that the Oxford white definitely holds up and hides some of that small stuff. It definitely does. I mean, that's no better. Yeah, Bird Dog Overland, thank you. Yeah, I finally got it out, but I was drawing a blank there for a second. Let's see. Just don't want to. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, you don't want to. Hey, by the way, whoever's going to Super Celebration East, I think if you want to see that Bronco, the whole OJ thing, if you're into that kind of stuff, I don't care. But it's in a museum in Pigeon Forge, by the way. You can look that up. And I don't guess it was his. It was the guy Al's Bronco. I don't know. Look, I'm not in all that stuff, but we do go to museums. I like seeing cars and filming them, so I'm sure we'll be there this year and we'll get it on film. And yeah, we'll have to shout out to all of our Oxford white Bronco fans. I'm just kidding. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Bird Dog Overland said, I guess it's pronounced the way it's spelled, Morimoto XRGB. Love them. Getting a lot of compliments on them as well. Let's see. And they are bright. I'm not here. Let me put this up here on the screen. They're bright. I'm not sure if they need fog lights. Again, I hear you. Well, that's even better. That's even better. Yeah, and I look forward to seeing them when we go to Townsend. It's going to be fun. You'll get to try them out in Wares Valley Road. That's a nice road to drive when it's dark at night. Silver is second best for hiding dirt and scratches. TJ Miller, absolutely 110%. So you would probably have the white and the silver, the iconic silver. And then of course, when you get into the darker colors, obviously it shows it, but it looks good. And I didn't know how Area 51 was going to hold up, but I've been happy. There again, I haven't beat mine through the trees yet or covered it in mud. So there's that. However, Becky's Bronco has had everything from mud to wind-driven sand on it. I don't know if you saw any of Johnny's videos, that Johnny's Car Care Review, or I think we did one video from the Outer Banks when he came into town a few weeks ago. We went down there. We had wasn't bad, but we had a nice breeze blowing and the sand just gets everywhere on the Broncos. Uh, but last year, we actually had a lot of airborne sand pelting the side of it. No issues whatsoever. We hosed it all first and then washed it, so we didn't have any scratches. So I'm definitely happy with the Area 50 or the Eruption Green. Well, I'm happy with both, but Eruption Green on that as well. But what do you think? Color. What should Ford add to the Bronco trim? So you have 2-door, 4-door. What color should be next? I mean, should they bring one from the past? Should they sort of mix up some potion and create a new one for the future? And what do you think? Will Ford ever do a two-tone Bronco from the factory, whether it be paint or a sort of a tinted or colored PPF or just a basic wrap? Be very interesting to see. I'm going in 60. Hot Wheels has a limited edition OJ Bronco selling for $50 to $155. Jeez. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Oh, let's see. The velocity. Okay, we already hit that comment there. So yeah, we're gonna have fun. So what color should Ford? Lambo yellow. There you go, Ryan. Awesome. Lambo yellow. I could see that. I could see that. The Yellowstone, which is unfortunately only going to be on the Heritage Limited. I don't. I don't know. That would be a cool color, I think, for it to be standard. But I think because they did it as a limited, I don't think that color will show back up. But something like Lambo yellow, I think is probably enough of a difference. So it's totally different. So I would see that as well. I'm going in 60 said, I want Ford to bring lead foot gray and black and offer it to the Broncos. I think it was one of those rumor mills that it was possibly coming out, but I haven't seen any word of it. I do know one thing: color's an easy thing to add to a Bronco to change it up year over year. Let's face it, car manufacturers in the marketing business. The marketing video for the Ford Bronco should say that. Ford really, with their production company, whoever did it, did a great job. But the colors is one of the few things you feel like almost like if you have a Badlands, you have one of the most capable off-road vehicles, and then the Raptor shows up, right? And so then what's after that, or what color, or what option, or Wild Track with the optional 3.0 suspension. That's what keeps you trading vehicles in, coming back for more, is getting that latest, that greatest. And sometimes it's as easy as a color or style of interior. Michael Nice said Desert Tan was cool but short-lived. So yeah, Michael, can you imagine if you are a Everglades owner of a you're a Desert Sand Everglades owner, right? You have one on order, you've taken delivery already. You have probably so far to date, other than the Heritage Limited, you probably have the rarest Bronco out there. I don't know. 1966 Heritage Limiteds, 2 doors, and supposedly 1966 Heritage Limited 4 doors. So I don't know how many takes there were on Everglades Desert Sand. So I'd love to see that number. But either way, if you're not the most rare so far, you're getting close to it, because the Raptors are going to keep building. It's going to be the Raptors, let's face it, that's just like, that's the benchmark for other manufacturers to go after now. But I have a Badlands and I love it. So I have no issues with that at all. We have our order for the Bronco Raptor, but we don't have a build date. But I have no intention of getting rid of my Badlands, because I see that as being that long-term vehicle for us. But I don't know, the colors, man. The colors are easy for Ford to switch up a little bit. Ryan Hemming said matte black with shiny black accents. I think that would definitely pop. I really love the two-tone black, right? The matte and the gloss mixed up. Ford did that with the 24 Mustang, for example. So you have there's a video we have on our channel here where we had a red. I don't know the color. I don't think it was race red, a red Mustang. And it had gloss black and matte black trim on it. And that color difference. So it's all black, but man, the gloss really popped and then the matte was cool. And I think what it did was it controlled the bright red and the gloss black. That matte just fits in there perfectly. So if you take a all black Bronco, matte and gloss, I think, yeah, that's pretty sweet. The grill would be gloss. The trail sights, I don't know. Would you do those gloss? A gloss top with a matte black paint job on there? Yeah, that's sweet right there. TJ Miller said Caribbean turquoise. I could agree with that. You think turquoise and white, maybe, very kind of clean. There's a cyber orange two-door Bronco here where I live. Nick, what do you think about that? Yeah, so you've seen it. If you see it in the sunlight, you like the color, or is it too gold for you? I think some people said, well, it's got like a lot of gold in it. And I think that's because of the metal flake. I think what happens is the metal flake has bronze in it, like the eruption green, but it's that flake on the yellow or the cyber orange. Sorry. Oh, let's see. I'm going to 60. I picked up my wife's cyber orange two-door shortly after Ford discontinued it. Good deal. Yeah. So, well, there again, there was a lot of, I say a lot, I don't know, just by seeing pictures, cyber oranges out there. I think that would probably be the second. I think it would be hard to quantify between the cyber orange and the antimatter blue. Then you have rapid red. I think there was a lot more people bought rapid red than say antimatter blue, because like antimatter blue, when you see it clean, it's beautiful, but from a distance, slightly dirty. From a distance, now it looks black. The rapid red was a very like Cabernet red on the old Fox Body Mustang. It just had that really clean look to it. So I think that you would say desert sand would be the rarest. Forget the heritage. Desert sand, and then it's a tie between antimatter and cyber orange, because there's a lot of both of them out there. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So Michael Cooper said, I have a four-door cyber orange and love it in the sun. It pops. It does pop. It does pop. Yeah, we've seen quite a few. Definitely a good color. I'm not knocking. See, there again, you could tell me, hey, you can have a Bronco tomorrow. What color you want? I'd say just give it to me. I don't care. I really don't care. But when you're buying it, you've got to pick one. And I'd start to try to pick it to death and try to figure out, okay, why this? Area 51 was easy. I've never had of any vehicle that color or even close to that color. I have had green vehicles before, but not eruption green. But the Area 51 for me was easy. Eruption green was easy too, because we like green and it was a new color for that, Bronco. Oh, sand, not tan. Sand, not tan. I might have said something wrong here. Oh, there you go. Oh, you're correct in that comment. Almost bought a desert tan. Yeah, desert sand Raptor. Yeah, like I said, all of those. Ford doesn't do a lot with beige. If you've noticed that, the beigeish, sandish colors, whatever, either beige or sand, whatever. But you know what I mean, in that flavor spectrum on the color chart. Ford doesn't do a lot of vehicles in that color. If you said, okay, which vehicle do you think has the most in that color? Right off the bat, I'd say Toyota or Nissan. I don't know why. I visualize that, that Tacoma, maybe the overlanding Tacoma, maybe because I actually saw one today close to that color. Sharp looking rig. I mean, very sharp looking rig. I don't know. Ford just doesn't seem to do a lot with that. Oh, let's see what we got here. Desert sand would be my second choice behind Leadfoot Gray. Calypso Coral 2. You've got all the unique colors here tonight. I think those are the cheerful, bright colors, TJ. They definitely are, right? And I think I've mentioned this before. The Jeep dealership down the road from us looks like when they get a new shipment of Jeeps in, it looks like a Skittles bag. right? I mean, you have the yellow, the orange, the greens, the blues. And right now, for the last 3 weeks, there's a lot of gray, black, and white. So it's sort of, I don't think those colors, and this is all anecdotal, I drive by the dealership, but you'll see them stocked up with colors, and then it goes back to the white, gray, black. So I think that the colors definitely on the Jeep side sells. And I know Ford looks at that. They know the numbers that they're selling. So I think as the years go on, the colors get different. They change and all that good stuff. Oh, let's see what else we have going on. Anyway, well, look, folks, got to go. I'm gone in 60. You're very welcome. There again, if you're looking for a Bronco Raptor, especially Code Orange, connect with I'm Gone in 60 over on Instagram. Message him. He has a line on one and definitely can chat with him on that. Let's see. Ryan said, I did my driver's ed in a Desert Sand Crown Vic boat. Speaking of driver's ed, you'll never believe way, way, way back when I got my license, we had the old Furies, the Fury, I don't know, Fury 2, Fury 3, some Fury something, the old Chrysler. We had driver's ed cars that were 318s or 440s. I know they were 4 barrels because you could hear them suck the air whenever you floored it. How do I know in a driver's ed car? I don't know. But you remember the show Hunter? Like if you're as old as I am, you remember there was a show Hunter. He drove one in there, and then you could go back and look at it. It was pretty cool, but that's what we learned to drive in. So you definitely had a cooler car than I had. I had the old late 70s, early 80s police car type thing. It was definitely pretty fun. But yeah, we got to drive in the snow with a 4-barrel. What could go wrong? Like absolutely what could go wrong? But yeah, that's pretty cool. So look, everyone, I am TJ Miller. I'm almost out of here, but I definitely want to hit this comment. Jeep has some crazy colors too. Saw a Jeep today that looked like yellow highlighter. I didn't hate it. I know exactly what you're talking about. It's that safety greenish, yellowish type color. I tell you, I did see there was someone had a Jeep here. I think it was a what was it? I think it was probably just a Wrangler, but it had enough black on it. Even had some green like logos on the side of it, and it was just so bright. It was cool, right? I'm thinking, I've always said Ford needs to do something that bold, and then everybody will hate it. Not everyone. There'll be 75% of people that just think it's the ugliest thing in the world, but the 25% of people that get it will love it. And that's what I think is pretty cool about it. Anyway, Grand Fury with Mr. Oh, look who, you were there. Wayne. So check this out. Wayne, thanks for tuning in. You definitely remember that was at Phoebus at the driving range there. That was so awesome. Yeah. So I had Anthony. If Anthony's watching, you ought to chime in. Anthony was in the car with me, I know, some of the time. And we had this, when you had to drive around that course, you know the deal. You had the brakes on the passenger side. And well, I don't want to say anything live here on the internet, but we had fun. It was fun. And thanks. That's where I learned how to drive, by the way. But yeah, Grand Fury with Mr. Yeah. It was fun times, Wayne. Thanks for commenting on that. Yeah, you bring kind of that brack there. And see, folks, an old schoolmate tuned in, and he knows the deal. We could probably do a show on that, Wayne, sometime. I mean, we could, I don't know, it'd be fun. But look, everyone, I appreciate every one of you watching tonight. We're going to hopefully have our guest next week in studio. That'll be our first guest in studio. We've obviously had people online before. Don't hesitate to message me throughout the week, whether it's be on Instagram or Facebook. What kind of content? What do you see? What do you want to see? What do you want to do? You want to meet up somewhere when we go to, say, Detroit later this year, or Super Celebration East, or let us know. Like what value add can we put here on this channel to keep everyone going? So I definitely want to keep everyone in tune with what we're doing and all kinds of good stuff. Nick said, I did my driver's ed in the 67 Mustang Fastback. Come on, Nick. Why? You know, I'm out here in an old police car and you're driving around in a Mustang. But yeah, that's pretty cool. That lucky you, by the way. Yeah, definitely lucky you. Collab at Supercell. Definitely. We need to do some fun stuff there. Definitely need to do some videos. I want to do a walk around of your Bronco. You've added like, I don't know, were you up to like 800 parts now? So I definitely want to do a review, probably 3 reviews because of all the stuff you've added. But I think that would be very cool. Definitely get some more exposure to you and your channel as well. You have one of the most, and I'm speaking of Bird Dog Overland, by the way, you have one of the most modded Broncos that I know of. Just everything. So good job on that. Keep the content coming. It's great. Everyone, I'm out. It's been a pleasure each and every week. Thank you very much. Let us know what you want to see in the future, and we'll be back next Wednesday night with our friend that likes Jeeps, I think, and real estate as well. All right, I'm out. See ya. Have a good one. Bye. Be safe, be successful, and be happy. Bye.